Hey,
Hello, how's it
how
going,
you, do-
man?
how you doing? How you doing, man?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm all right. You can hear me fine?
Yeah, I can hear you great. I've heard you fine this whole time.
Cool. It's just for some reason on some of the past streams, I'll always get one or two people being like, "Hey, you're too quiet" or "You're too loud" or whatever.
I've had this problem before too.
How you been, man? How's things been recently?
It's been pretty good. It's been a weird year because I was supposed to spend the entire year touring, but obviously the world collapsed, and I've ended up doing a totally different thing. And in spite of all that, everything's pretty good. How have you been?
I've been all right, man. We're maybe not so much on the same scale as you guys, but we were supposed to. It's been a weird year for us too because April last year we were supposed to do our very first tour like ever. Like it was just us. We were going to play a festival in Vancouver and back, and then the world fell to pieces, and then we lost two members, and then we didn't do anything for 6 months, and now we're trying to get back to doing things just online. So yeah, that's pretty much been it.
Nice. Well, I very much understand. Am I allowed to drop any secrets on this relative to your situation over there, or?
Depends. What do you mean?
Well, I can't really say in front of all these fine people.
Well, I guess
I was
one thing
going to say that. Well, let me skirt my way around the details. With those 6 months or whatever that you've had, everybody that is interested in what you've been doing is going to be really happy very soon.
I've been alluding to it a bit in these streams that we have new material coming very soon. We'll have all that announced very soon. And
Okay, cool. That's what I meant,
I've been giving little hints on these streams, but there's that, and obviously Jack here mixed our Running Wild cover for the Wild Privateers tribute album for Running Wild, and that's going to be freaking awesome. I think they just announced the last band today.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, so we're just waiting for that, but obviously all the everything is delayed because of COVID. Like all the CD production, everything it just sucks. What kind of material is it? Polyester, perhaps silk? Oh my god, Matt.
It's silk to the ears, my friend.
Oh yes. Yeah. Also, I have to say, man, I really loved the when you put it in your story. I love the vampire werewolf thing that you did. That was perfect.
Whenever the time comes to post about the upcoming stuff you guys have, my plan is, and hopefully there aren't like too many people that follow me also on this today, because it's going to be, they make some pretty good heavy metal for filthy lichens.
It's hilarious you say that, because I remember the very first time you guys came to Ottawa and we played with you. I distinctly remember all of us going to the Coven. You remember that place?
Yeah.
I remember we all went to the Coven, and I don't remember if it was you or Adrian who said this, but I said, "Oh, I'm from Lycanthro," and then when you said, "Wait a minute, you're the werewolf band? Why are we sitting together?"
Yeah. This is not my clique. You're at the wrong table.
Exactly.
No, it's super cool. How long has it been since that show? I can't remember.
I think it's been like 3 years, 2 or 3 years, I think.
Holy shit. Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, swear away.
Okay, great. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah, it's freaking nuts, man. Well, I remember because both, my friend Matt that's where Richie Faulkner from Judas Priest drew a dick on the wall. I'm not surprised by that.
I can actually see the chat, too. This is awesome.
Oh, you can?
Honestly, so on that note, I fucking love Richie Faulkner. He's an amazing guitar player.
Oh, yeah, he's nuts. And
so great.
Yeah, and it's a good thing. I just read it off because I don't think the viewers can see the chat, or if they can, then it's just scrolling. But
okay, cool.
But yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, we've played with you both times you've been to Ottawa, and then obviously the all this stuff happened. And it's funny, I was supposed, literally 2 days before all the lockdown stuff happened, I was going to drive to Montreal to go see you guys with Insomnia. That was 2 days after it happened.
Oh, that was so brutal, man. It was the shortest tour I think Insomnia has ever been on.
Yeah, it's like fly from where are they from again? Sweden?
Finland.
Finland. Yeah, they're from Finland. Yeah, so they flew from Finland. You guys played the first show, right?
Yeah, we played one show in Philadelphia, and then everything was shut down. And like that night, their entire team was scrambling to get them back over to Finland, and we were scrambling to get back, and it was just, it was chaos. And Omnium Gatherum as well, they share some members, but like Nick Cordell, who played for Arch Enemy on that the record War Eternal, another one of my favorite guitar players and favorite albums of all time. But yeah, he was there too, playing for Omnium Gatherum, and they had like a fairly new lineup. It was just insane, man. I've never experienced anything like that. Yeah,
it was, yeah, and I even heard lots of stories of the one that I found hilarious was when, I think I saw this on an interview with Unleash the Archers. They were touring with Dragon Force at the time, and I remember hearing when on the Thursday when they announced the whole lockdown, they had just gotten to the venue. I think it was in Denver, Colorado, I think, and they canceled the show that day, but then already a bunch of fans had already showed up. So what they did was, this is actually, they took the best of a bad situation. They brought all the fans to the back where all the buses were parked, and they played like an acoustic show in the alley of the venue.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. All right. So I guess just before we get into the meat of all this, I'm just going to do my little thing where I say anybody who's watching, if you have a question for Jack or myself, then please leave it in the comments and we'll get to them. So
great. I see my buddy James has joined. How's it going?
Sweet. How's it going, man? So I guess a good thing to start on is I've been seeing all the updates of. So I guess Spires 3 is happening. So do you care to divulge anything about that, or can you divulge anything about that? Or
I can a little. I can say that it's done. It's recorded. It's mixed. It's mastered. It's delivered. That's about what I can say. I can also say that it's a lot of fucking material. It's the longest album we've ever done. It's the most diverse album we've ever done. And personally, at least, on my end, I think it's the best album we've ever done, bar none. Not that everything before isn't exactly how it should have been. I think that every single one of us brought our A game to this, and there's something on it for everyone, and I really hope that everyone loves it, because I really do.
Yeah, sweet. And I think that's usually kind of a symptom that every band says, where it's just like, our new album is the best one yet, blah, blah, blah. But
yeah,
but I'm sure it will be, because like you guys, for the 2 albums that you guys have out, I think that your guys' music is really diverse, because you're one of the few metal bands that I have a really hard, I think most people do, have a really hard time categorizing, because you'll have a full-on Camelot-esque power metal song, and then right next to it you'll have a full-on Dim Borgir worship in the next track. Then the next track after that will be a full-on like almost, I don't want to say 80s, but like a very kind of sappy power ballads, which I personally love. So, people make fun of me for liking sappy power ballads, and I'm like, I don't care. You guys are, those are the best.
People who make fun of sappy power ballads are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Oh yes. Oh, my friend Matt said, "Are the goods delivered?" Yes, I'm a Judas Priest fan.
Haha, dude.
So I guess a good way to talk more about your guys' new stuff without divulging too much is how was the recording process from it? Because I remember seeing a bunch of updates of you guys recording it from your own specific, like from home, and you were like traveling between members, recording it. So how did that all come about? How'd the recording process go for the album?
Yeah, so I basically this time I engineered everything except for some upright bass parts that Pete did at his house. And guest vocals as well. We have a few guest vocalists on this one that's going to be very exciting that I can't say shit about.
Oh no, that's cool.
It's going to blow minds. But
I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, that's the big piece of news. If nobody knows us or whatever, there's some guest vocalists on here that are like just going to be amazing. But anyway, so I engineered everything. I flew up to New Hampshire to record Chris in his home studio, and then Pete came to my place in South Carolina, and Adrian shortly came after that to record vocals and did a bunch of orchestrations here. I did all the guitars myself, and then sent it off to be mixed by Sasha Peth per the rest of the stuff that we've done. But so because I engineered everything this time, and it was all back to back, and it was the longest amount of material that we've ever done, and some of the most technical, and also stuff that had to be intentionally the most emotional. The recording process broke me a little. I'm still recovering.
Oh, jeez, man.
I was like, I was hands-on with every step of the process this time, and I'm super proud of that. But when I was done, I was done. Like I can't say I've really done anything of note, like as far as huge projects go since. I've done a lot of mixing and mastering and one-off stuff, and mastering albums is not too time-consuming. But as far as like the next recording project, I've just been so dead from doing the Spires one. That's pretty much what I have to say about that. Is that I took it to the point, and we all took it to the point where every single one of us recorded our instrument until we couldn't record anymore, and everything was exactly as it should have been. And then me as an engineer and my ears and stuff, I was dead.
and one thing that is pretty interesting, because I can totally relate, because I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but I went to school for recording and all that, and editing, drum editing especially, even on like a short song, it's a pain, because as I told you with the Running Wild cover, I edited all the drums myself, and I did it manually because I tried to be cheeky and do Beat Detective, and then it just kept messing it up even more. So, but
Beat Detective is a tricky thing. It's I mean, I don't use Pro Tools as my normal DAW. Don't shoot me, engineer community. But I hear, like, if I were ever to use something like that, Logic has flex time and some other things, but it's more like 35 to 50% that like works and doesn't sound horrible. And then after that, I would just move things manually because it's pretty brutal. But I can say that when I'm recording, specifically when I'm recording Chris, our drummer, for anything that he plays on, I don't edit anything for timing. We punch in while we're recording, but I push him until everything's perfect. I don't edit anything. And that's a luxury that I have specifically working with him because he's amazing, but also because we have the time. For sure. I can't necessarily speak to what Sasha does because he could be doing whatever to our stuff to make it sound good. But at least when we record, I record his drums, and the take that we get on tape or in the DAW before any editing is the one. And then we all record on top of that without any quantizing or whatever. And not every drummer can do that. And I feel very lucky that I can do that with him.
Yeah, man. And as I said, I can relate with the just being completely done because as I said, we have with our new stuff that we have, it was sort of a weird kind of, I felt kind of broken after it was all done because of the pandemic. a lot of it had to be recorded from home, because especially it was very torturous for me, because I actually recorded, I don't know if you can see this, but I have my SM57 right here, and I recorded the majority of the vocals from home, because what happened was we recorded the album like a while ago, and I did vocals at the studio, but when I listened to them, they sounded horrible. And the reason being was because I didn't know this at the time, but I couldn't hit like any highs like I usually do. And it was because it was there when we played with you guys last time you came here, was I found out I might have had vocal edema, actually. So
whoa, that's crazy. And that's really weird to hear, because you're like Mr. High Power Metal screams to me, like in my brain.
Yeah.
Anytime,
exactly.
yeah, that band Lycanthro from Ottawa, they're like the dude with the crazy high power metal screams.
Thanks, man. But yeah, no, it was very torturous, because I couldn't do that for a long time, because I found out that because what I did was I started taking vocal training again from Mary Z from Helion Prime.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, she's fantastic, man.
Yeah. Spoiler alert for people who are watching, she's gonna be on the show next week. And
nice.
and I went to her and I explained to her what was going on, and she said, "Oh, like it might be that you should get it checked out, because it could be this." And a lot of the stuff she taught me was very therapeutic in getting my voice back. And then once I did, which was like around the beginning of 2020, I said, okay, I have to record most of these vocals again. Like some of the vocals on the material is some of the old takes, which turned out fine, like back when I could still do the highs, but a lot of them weren't. So I had to do a lot of them from home here, and it was terrible, because as I've told you before, whenever we like text or whatever, is that it's the absolute worst doing it and there's no one to tell you anything. Like when there's no, because I'm so critical that there's some songs that takes me forever. Like I won't mention the name here for spoiler reasons, but the one that you mentioned to me, the very last track, that song took me forever, because it was so many layers, and there were some parts of it that, like, when I first wrote it, I wasn't singing, like, the melody wasn't fitting the song or whatever, so I had to change it so many times. And I never have anybody here to tell me, like, yeah, that was good, we can leave it like that, or no, that was shit, do it again, and I hate it. I hate it so much.
Yeah, it's such a tricky thing being, like, recording yourself. When I'm doing my own guitar tracks, something I learned actually from talking with Sasha Paeth this one time for our first album, Solveig. I flew over to Germany, and Adrian as well, and she was re-recording some vocals on one song over there and kind of finalizing the mixes and stuff. And we were just hanging out with Sasha and talking. And obviously, if anyone doesn't know Sasha Paeth, he mixed and recorded and whatever, basically every Camelot album ever, all the classic Epica records, a lot of the classic Angra records. He's the guitar player for Avantasia, and he writes so much of their material. And like he's basically the guy that fucking invented power metal, and just one of the most brilliant songwriters and musicians of our age. If you're into melodic heavy metal.
He's like the granddaddy of power metal, and like the more obscure kind of, like the more hardcore fans will know him before as the lead guitarist of Heaven's Gate as well.
Yeah, that as well.
And
there's Heaven's Gate, but then everything that he's done since then is just as golden, if not more.
Oh yeah.
But one thing that he told me is he used to like obsess over like when I'm recording guitar, it has to be like I use super low gain and I did all these takes and just have to make sure everything's perfect. And nowadays it's like you do, a couple of takes and like the first 2 or 3 takes are the best ones and everything after that starts sucking. And I'm sure this comes with decades of experience, but like having someone else to tell you, yeah, I like when you sing it this way, or I like when you sing it that way, or I like when you play this way, or maybe this note is, you know, not working, or the first half of this bass fill is good, and the second one, maybe if we change these notes, it'll be cooler. Like, I've worked really hard to develop this kind of ear, especially for the stuff I have to do with Spires, because I'm the one, I guess, you know, egging on Pete and Chris and Adrian and hopefully myself in the same way. But it's definitely a skill set that not a lot of people think about, even let alone develop after trying it for a while. So I definitely recommend having at least one, even if it's like, if it's your mom. I ask my mom about mixes all the time.
I do too.
or guitar parts and stuff. Yeah, if it's my mom, if it's your girlfriend, if it's you know, another bandmate or something, just ask someone about what you have going on, and they'll be the first ones to tell you if something's weird. But also, if you're showing it to them, it's like a psychological thing where, like, the anxiousness of showing it to them, you start to hear things differently, and you think, oh, I should have changed that, and this isn't right. Like, it gives you perspective in a way that you don't get when you're just sitting here, like, you know, working the fucking faders and working the mouse or working the, you know, the mic or whatever.
Yeah, and I'll admit, that's actually a good thing, 'cause I actually do that too, because not just with the Lycanthro stuff, but one thing I've been working on a lot recently is I was just doing like session work before, and I was also like, and no matter what it is, even if it's like a cover or something, like a vocal cover, I'll always ask my mom to listen to it. And the thing, I forgot who told me this, but one of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten is if someone who either doesn't know or doesn't like the kind of music you make, if they say it's good, then you know it's good.
Yeah.
Because not just my mom, but like everyone in my personal friend group, and like here in Ottawa, like my kind of group of like 4 or 5 like close friends, none of them except for one, none of them are really into metal at all. Like they're more into like the really old goth stuff, or the really old like atmospheric-y post-punk, like The Cure, that kind of stuff. And they usually don't like metal at all. So whenever I show them something and they tell me, oh, this is great, I'll be like, okay, I know it's good because they liked it. And normally they hate metal. So, so it's like, yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned the thing with that Sasha says that like usually the first few takes are the best, and afterwards it starts getting shit. Because I find that that's something that sort of comes with, it's sort of like a learning experience, a rite of passage for anybody who does any sort of recording, because I found it's the same thing with vocals and guitars too. And even our guest who we had on Wednesday, Krista from Lycanthro, she said the exact same thing. She's like, yeah, almost every time it's always the first or second take, and then when you try and mimic it is when it ends up being shit. So
yeah, and it's a tricky thing too, because it's all relative. There's like this bell curve theory where you get, you know, the outlying 20%. I have to try and do this on camera. You have the outlying 20% that are, you know, maybe it's different for these guys that are at the top of the top, and it's different for these guys that are at the bottom of the bottom. For the middle, you know, kind of 60 to 80%, there's this thing of like, you know, most things are true because the average person is average. But if you're just beginning and hearing something like this with recording, maybe you try to push a little harder, because your first take is probably not going to be your best take if you're not used to playing with the click track and whatever. And if you've been recording for years, maybe your first take is the only take you do, depending on how you record and what style of music you do. And that's going to be the best one. That's going to be amazing.
yeah,
But for the rest of us normal folk, that's kind of a good general rule.
oh
I
yeah.
think.
It's actually funny because that reminded me of a story when I was in recording school. I forgot what class it was in. I think it was in like production theory, and one of the things we had to listen to was, completely forgot who it was, but it was like one of those lounge singers like Frank Sinatra or whatever. they showed us this track of it, and the vocals sounded really like raw and emotional and really like really good. And they said that that was literally the warm-up take. That was like he hadn't even warmed up his voice yet.
Yeah.
And the producer literally said, "We're keeping that one. We're done because even though he didn't, since when he didn't know he was being recorded, because he was warming up and the guy just hit record just to see what came out, and he literally was just like, that's it, we're done. We don't need it. That was perfect." Like, so it's hilarious to hear like some of those stories like that with a lot of the people who are pros, you know.
Yeah, it's there's a really good podcast that somebody I can't even remember who it is, maybe Pure Mix on YouTube, but they recently featured Michael Brower, who's a famous mix engineer who did Coldplay and like all these kind of big names, but he once worked with James Brown, and he told a story about how they were in the studio and they had recorded the band, and he had James, Mr. Brown or whatever, had gone around and told every musician kind of what to play. They laid down the first take, and he just grabbed one of the room mics off the drums and started singing into it, and that was fine. And they finished the take, and he was like, "All right, next song." And he was like, "Can you just do can we go to the vocal booth and do the vocal, because the bleed from the whatever?" And he's like, "What are you talking about? I just did the vocal." So it's like, it's that kind of stuff. Like you as the engineer have to be prepared to record and use what is captured if the artists like it, because at the end of the day, it's not your album if you're an external engineer. If you are, everything's harder.
Oh yeah,
because you have to be emotionally attached to everything and also technically attached.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm sure you understand just what it is. But hey, anytime you want to take a trip down to South Carolina and record with me, I'm game to be that guy for you.
For sure. Yeah, no, I will. I'm not even joking. I literally talked about that with my with our drummer, because our drummer was like, so our drummer currently right now, this is not to get too grim right now, but our drummer's in Greece right now because he's been stuck there for the majority of the pandemic, and it sucks because it sucks, but it's also been cool because he has access to a studio there because he's from there originally. Mm-hmm. And he did the Running Wild cover from there and sent it to us, and we did all that. And and we were talking about that the other night. I was explaining to him, hey, Jack worked on a bunch of our stuff, and he said he'd be down to produce us. And he goes, and in his Greek accent, he's like, "Yes, we'll go anywhere. If we get to go there, I don't care. Let's do it." He did such a good job. And I'm like, yeah, I'm down,
That's great to hear. I unfortunately here at my house, I don't have a drum room and I don't have a setup to record drums. But anything else, I've done guitars, I've done vocals, I've done bass, I've done upright bass, whatever here. But I don't have a setup necessarily to record drums. In that case, I would advise going somewhere else, and possibly I would come to you. And I would just be the guy saying, hey, maybe play this way, or, maybe we need to tune the snare a little differently or something like that. But
I mean, yeah, that'd be sick. I mean,
I want to go back to Canada anyway.
Yeah, we can put you up somewhere here and all that. And I know you guys have like a bunch of friends in Montreal and all that. So yeah, no, we can definitely make that happen.
Yeah, let's do it, man. I'm easy. I'm flexible. I just love doing it, So whatever we got to do, let's make it happen.
Yeah, and the thing that I was telling you over message the other day, and I'll say it again for the people watching, is that one thing that I've found really one thing that I really liked is that how I'm not saying this in a way that it demeans quality, because it really doesn't, but how quick you are, and it's like how quick you are and the amount of quality that you provide for how fast you do things. It's amazing, because we've had lots of we've because there's lots of engineers that I've seen that either take way too long, but they sound great, but they take way too long, or the ones who are, you know, really quick, but they just don't sound that good, you know? I've seen that many times. So it's sweet.
It's a tough balance. I appreciate that as well. I try to, you know, I spend a lot of my time learning about the field and listening to stuff. And I think the best mark of excellence in that kind of field is just doing it a lot and mixing a lot of things, mastering a lot. And you learn so much by being in the real world and experiencing it more so than you can ever from any course or video or whatever. I personally, I feel like the more time I spend on a mix, like so usually it's 1 to 2 days for me for a mix. If it's fully symphonic with orchestra and vocals and layers of whatever, you know, it might take me a little longer, but I try to get all the basic sounds up really quickly and then spend a lot of time tweaking the fine details, because I find that the more time I spend like dialing in the kick sound or dialing in the snare or, you know, isolating these individual instruments, the more likely I am to fuck things up, because you lose perspective. The real goal is to make the song good. And you can't think about the song when you're thinking about the guitar tone. It's an aspect of it, but you really have to zoom out and think of like, where do I need the vocal to be? Where do I need the drums to be? Are the crash cymbals loud? Like, you have to be thinking about this all the time. And it's a skill that is developed over doing a lot of stuff. And I'm not saying that I've like figured this out and I'm excellent and everything that I do is amazing. Like I'm still learning every day, but that's the mindset that I try to have, is that my first impression at this point and my gut feeling is, you know, pretty solid usually. And depending on the artist, you know, we can tweak from there and whatever. But my first kind of go-to and knowing my tools and knowing how to get there really quickly is, it serves me well. Let's put it that way.
Man. So what, I guess the next thing that we'll get to is, because I notice we're about halfway through right now. Sorry, we're about halfway through right now.
We made
it. Cheers, bud.
Cheers.
So I guess the other thing I wanted to ask about in terms of the new Spires stuff, I guess your stuff in general, is so with you guys, I know a lot of your guys' songwriting is very collaborative, like, but excluding the vocals, because I know that's just Adrian does all that. How do you approach your songwriting in just in general with the Spires stuff? Like, how do you approach the songwriting? Like, do you have a certain, like, when you hear like a band or an album, you'll be like, oh, okay, I'm going to do something similar to this, or how do you approach it?
Well, that's a very good question, because it's all of it. It can be anything from Adrian sitting down at a piano one night by herself, figuring out some chords and writing a vocal line, and then the next day doing the entire song by herself and just presenting it to us, and it's perfect. Anything from that to her and I sitting down and figuring out the soul of the song and what it means within the context of the album that we already have written, and then kind of being able to do the drums, but we know that Chris is going to write parts that are way beyond anything that we can come up with. So we send it to him, and then he collaborates with Pete, and they get together and jam out parts. And Pete comes up with this amazing bass line that totally changes the song. So we have to go back and adjust what we're doing, and she adjusts the orchestration, and the vocal line comes from something that comes from that. And it's everything. There's no one way that we write songs, but I guess it generally starts with either something that Adrian comes up with on her own or something that I come up with on my own, and then we kind of mesh it together. And usually what Pete and Chris do with the bass line and the drums that tie everything together comes slightly after that.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the average song, but it could be just that Adrian comes up with something fucking brilliant that we don't need to change whatsoever, and then I just add a guitar solo and call it a day. You know.
Sweet, man. Yeah, actually, we have a comment here from Shady Power Metal Storefront. Spires 3, Immortal Vampire Person versus the IRS.
Versus the IRS.
I would
That's not inaccurate.
That's not inaccurate.
I've accidentally touched the screen, and now all the comments are filling my whole screen. Okay, okay, we're good.
I'm doing that too, just looking through them. Oh, John Pyers is here. What's up, man?
Oh, hey, what's up, dude?
I really hope I did.
A few people that I know that have joined relatively recently. I don't know if they're still on, so I won't shout out, but I fucking see you guys.
What's up? Yeah, I really hope I didn't butcher your name, dude.
No, that's his name. He also responds to "Hey you" or I probably shouldn't say this on air. That's fine.
Cool. That's cool, man. It's like another spoiler alert is that he's actually going to be a guest on here too. I actually told him to tune in.
Nice.
Just to tell him, just because he was asking me the other day about how we do things. I'm like, oh, well, I'm doing one with your bandmate soon, so come in and, he said, say it.
Right. So we have this running joke, and my the nickname for him in our Facebook chat is Pale Finnish Fuckfest, because he is very pale, and it looks like Tomas Halapainen from Nightwish and Tony Kakko from Sonata Arctica had a baby somehow.
That is very true.
So that is what we call John Pyers.
Oh, man.
Love you, buddy. So over here, I don't know if you can see on my wall here, but there's this Castlevania artwork that he got me at some point. I think while we were recording some Threads of Fate stuff, or maybe for my birthday or something. But I also have my headphones are not long enough. But the only Funko Pop that I own is Dracula. From Castlevania, that he got me as well. So yeah,
sick.
John is the best.
I haven't seen Castlevania yet. I need to.
Yo,
I know. I need to.
You need to right now. We need to hang up, and you need to watch Castlevania.
Oh man. Actually, yeah, I have like 2 Funko Pops. I can't get them because I can't reach them. But one of them is Freddy Krueger, and
Nice.
the other one is this will show how much of a weeb I am. But Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, nice. I haven't seen that.
It's really good. It's really good.
I'm a limited American weeb. Like I grew up with Dragon Ball Z and Naruto and like those kind of things. But like outside of the basic, ones that were on Toonami.
Oh yeah,
I got nothing.
Oh yeah, no, it's Oh yeah, no, dude. I grew up with kind of the similar stuff too, like Inuyasha and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I actually rewatched all of it recently, and the only thing I kind of remembered from the show, I was like, oh, this is so long. This is so long. Oh, I got a bill. I pop in to say hi. See you, man. See you, John.
Oh, bye, John.
Yeah, it was literally, I was like, oh, this show's so freaking long. It's good, but it's long. Well, that's one thing I will tell the viewers is that the song that I mentioned that's off of our new stuff, that song, if you don't know, that song is very weebish. So I won't say what the title is yet, but you know which one I'm talking about. And if you look it up, you'll see what it's about. So
I know that this is The title is relative to an anime, but I have not seen this one, so I do not know. But it's a great song.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, let me think. What else was I gonna touch on?
We can talk about my Beagle socks.
Oh, those are some sweet Beagle socks,
Isn't
man.
that adorable?
Yeah. Okay, you know what? I thought of something. So, I guess on the new Spires album, what would you say, aside from the usual like Camelot and Dimmu Borgir kind of mix, what kind of artists or bands that you could, aside from those two, that you could tell people to give them an idea of what it'll be like musically? Like any albums or artists, again, aside from those two, because those are like the two most obvious, that you were inspired by or drew from for the album.
That's really hard. I'm gonna pull up the track listing here just so I can remember what every song is.
I'm gonna force move your phone so we can spoil the track listing.
No, absolutely not.
I kid.
So I'm just gonna kind of list. There's like 16 tracks here, and I'm just gonna spoil the artist that comes to mind as unique for each track.
Oh, okay.
So there's like an intro track, and then there's so I would say perhaps Elevati.
Okay.
Flesh God Apocalypse. Okay, maybe we got a Camelot one. Maybe we have a Billie Eilish one. Maybe we have a Mirath one.
Maybe Billie Eilish one, eh?
Yeah, it's we got everything on this. Oh, this one's really hard because it's kind of like black metal, but with like a clean Spires-y chorus, very melodic kind of thing. That's really hard. I don't know if I can define this. Moving on.
Yep, next one.
Yeah, maybe Amaranth.
Oh, yeah.
And then maybe Bring Me the Horizon meets, I don't know. Maybe Bring Me the Horizon.
Okay.
And then perhaps Nightwish, but like the conceptual side of Nightwish that's like 10 to 20 minute epics that have a lot of different shit in them with the guest vocalists that we have not announced. That's fantastic. Maybe Dragon Force. Maybe the next one would be
Dragon Force, eh?
Yeah, wow. Maybe. I mean, ish. That's kind of what shows up in my. Hi, Adrian. She's here. She can probably like answer 90% of these questions better than I can. So, whatever.
Hey, Adrian, what's up?
The next one. So, I maybe I can spoil this. The next one is one of the singles that we'll be releasing and one of the videos. And John, who we mentioned earlier, John Pyers, my fellow bandmate in Threads of Fate, and has done some vocals on this, actually done a duet with Adrian that I co-produced, having him play off of what she had already done and whatever. And it just came out fucking amazing.
That sounds incredible, man. Yeah.
It's so good. Surprisingly enough, their voices complement each other extremely well. And I wasn't expecting it in the way that it happened. So it was just kind of one of those magical things that showed up. And became the whole became more than the sum of its parts. All right, we're on to number 13. This has got to be the Dimmu Borgir one.
Okay.
14. Do you know that band Vortigar that?
Vortigar,
yeah. That Vortex sings for now. That was it. I came up with some stuff in this one that was heavily inspired by that.
It's gonna be a little bit proggy then, maybe.
Yeah, a little proggy, more recent Borknagar. So like black metal, but with clean singing and rock organs.
Yeah, because whenever I listen to Borknagar, I always get very heavy Uriah Heep vibes from them.
Yeah,
so
it's I don't even know how to describe it, but they're one of my favorite bands right now. And then the following one, perhaps Disney end credits, and then after that, old 50s 60s jazz pop, kind of Aretha Franklin meets Sinatra meets modern metal thing, which is just totally different than anything else we've ever done. It's just it's a mess of shit that we thought would be really fun that turned out to be even more fun, and turned into this album that we're super proud of.
Yeah, that sounds like a huge, like, all the bands you just mentioned for like Easter egg, that just sounds like incredible. Just the whole dynamic of all that. That just sounds really sweet.
Nothing is the same, but it's somehow all cohesive, I think.
Yeah. And
I think the thing that really ties it together is Adrian's orchestration style, and being able to take all of these metal elements and kind of mold them into one concept. And then also her vocal. I mean, if you hear her sing or scream or whatever, it's always going to sound like her. So that's the glue to my being able to do whatever the fuck I want with riffs.
Perfect, man. Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned the whole Disney thing because, again, just no spoilers for anybody watching, but one of our tracks on the new stuff actually is very Disney inspired. I don't know if it's if you remember which one, but it's all I'll say is that it's based on Hunchback of Notre Dame. So I'll just say that.
I don't remember.
Oh well, cool.
You'll have to text me afterwards so I can know.
I think I will.
I'm not allowed to not know. I'll delete your album if I don't know. I'm kidding.
No, just like
back to square one.
Oh no, literally, man, this entire stream I've been getting, like, because my computer's like right here, so I've just been getting the whole like your startup disk is almost full like every 5 minutes, and I'm just like, our album's deleted. Jack, do you have it? No.
Shit. Thankfully, I do have it. I've gotten very good recently about backing up projects that I've worked on. So
sweet, man. Yeah,
if anyone breaks into your house and steals your album, I got it.
Sweet, man. So we have like about 12 minutes left. So I guess I'll say the thing that I usually say for towards the end is for any of our viewers who are watching, and obviously, as we know, Seven Spires is a very, very great, like, up-and-coming band who they've been getting a lot of traction over the past few years, getting to tour with, we're going to tour with Insomnium and Amaranth before this happened, which is still amazing. So my question to you is, do you have any advice for any younger bands maybe who are watching this, or will watch this after, because I'm going to start posting all these to YouTube, if that's cool with you?
Yeah, totally.
And so it's pretty much like, I know this is going to be like a few different sections, but any advice for young bands for starting out, even young guitar players starting out, any advice, any wisdom that you can impart?
It's a very broad question, but I can say the thing that ties us together and the thing that I recommend to everyone is keep the music real and keep it, do everything the way that you want to hear it. Make the music for yourself and hope that everyone else will like it. If you're writing to the lowest common denominator, hoping that everybody and their mother will think it's fine, you might do well, but it's not going to be groundbreaking. It's not going to be unique. It's not going to drive everything forward the way it should. So I think keeping the music authentic, keeping it real, and writing from the heart is one of the hardest things to really master and really push forward. The other thing I would say is surround yourself with a team of people, not just your bandmates, but a team of people that can really assist you in places that you don't know so well. We have a manager who's fantastic. We have people at our label. We have people on our team just in general that really help us out with things that we don't know how to do so well ourselves. And so if you're nice and you treat people the way that you want to be treated, it'll take you a long way, and you'll get a lot of friends that will help you move your career forward and their careers forward. And all ships rise on the same tide is what I would say. So just, remember the golden rule and be smart about things and keep your artistic integrity intact, and you'll go very far.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you brought up the team of people, because, I mean, we've, like, us personally, like, we haven't been around as long as you guys, but we have sort of had to try and experiment with that. And hell, I mean, in terms of recording stuff, I mean, you're probably the best one that we've had, in terms of just understanding, like, what we want and what we like,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and that's actually a really great piece of advice that I think more people should hear, because just to complement that with my own experience is that we have a label too. We're on a label too. Not as big as yours, obviously, but the guy, he's from Greece, and he's been really great to us. And I don't know if he's watching or if he's going to watch it. So in case he does, hey, Manuel, what's up, bud? And yeah, he's been really great to us and been really helpful. And same thing with a lot of the just friends we've made in the scene, and just even doing this show, because I've gotten to talk to a lot of people and get lots of great insight and stuff like that I wouldn't have thought of before. Like, for example, the king of this is the guy we had on Monday. His name is Matt Bacon. He's like this guy who works like social media for bands, and literally all of the social media stuff that we do and I've learned from him is literally just one of those, oh, why didn't I think of that?
Those are the kind of people you want, man. I just saw two people that I want to say hi with.
Oh, yeah?
Say hi to. Hi, Paloma. Paloma's a friend from Brazil. And Panos, your drummer, is here.
Yes.
He wanted to ask if, I assume this question is to me because he's in your band. Do you want to read it, or should I?
I just don't really understand it.
I think he's asking if me and my bandmates are friends or just bandmates.
Well, that seems very obvious that it's you guys are all best friends. So
yeah, we really are, and I'm very thankful for this. We're all different people, but we're all best friends. And any one of them I know I could call any day for any reason. And they'd be right there, have my back in anything. And not a lot of, well, maybe not a lot, but not every band has this, and I'm very thankful for this. Hi, Jibe.
There's another one for you.
Oh, new material from Beds of Fate soon. We're still working this out. We have a lot of new material done. The question is release plan, and so we're working on that. Hopefully very soon. I had a heavy hand in the entire process of that album as well. So I'm excited to get that out too.
Yeah, I'm really stoked to hear that one because I really loved the first EP. So
thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the whole reason kind of why, as I said earlier, I'm asking John to be on the show too, because the whole thing with this show too is that hasn't been for like the little bit oh, Panos, that's exactly what I was asking. Thank you. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thanks for tuning in, Panos. I haven't seen you in one of these in a little while. Since he's in Greece, the time zone is freaking fucked.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a disaster.
Oh, the thing I find funny, and I won't spoil this person because we have someone coming on the show in a few weeks that I'm really excited about, and the time zone difference between here and where she is hilarious. So I'm going to be doing the stream at like 10 a.m., which is like 5 o'clock over there where she is. So I told my drummer, I'm like, hey man, if you're up, I'm assuming you'll be up, so you can actually watch this one and not be completely exhausted.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited that he tuned into this one, and it's nice to somehow make your acquaintance. And excellent drumming, and best of luck, man.
Actually, yeah. And Shady Power Metal Storefront, I'm so sorry about all my joke questions, Emerald Seeds rules. I found them hilarious, honestly.
Oh, honestly, we got so into this conversation that I didn't really see.
He was like,
I'm scrolling back now.
Yeah, me too. He made the IRS joke, and then
okay, no, those are funny.
There was one more that it was pretty good. I was gonna comment on it, but I didn't have a chance to.
Was it the Spyro one, like the Spyro the Dragon one? Yeah, that was primo.
And then oh yeah, mwah. And then here's the other one, Sasha Tone Lord Prime. Well, yeah, I mean,
absolutely, yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, it doesn't get better, man.
Oh yeah, for sure. And
Sasha's the best.
Yeah, it's actually funny, as I said, because since Thanos is in the chat right now, I'll tell you like some of the stuff he told me. Is that so? The age gap in my band's hilarious because you didn't meet him when you guys came last because that he actually was on vacation. So when we played with you last, we had to fill in. Mm-hmm. But he's the age gap is hilarious, and he was telling us stories about how back in the day. He would go and see, when he was living in Greece, he'd see like Heaven's Gate and Hammerfall and all those bands who came through at the time. Halloween, obviously, Blind Guardian. And so it's really cool to hear all these stories that he has for all these different shows. And he actually was in a band called, before he came to Canada, he was in a thrash band called Memorane, who they're like one of the bigger thrash bands from Greece. And fun fact, this might be a bit hard to believe, but look it up because on like Metal Archives, it's true. And this is not just for you, it's for the viewers too. Is the drummer that replaced Panos in Memorane for the album after he left was actually Nick Menza from Megadeth.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's I was mind blown when he told me that. I was like, wait, what? I have to look this up, and sure enough, it's true.
That's sick.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. So, yeah, it's just all the old stories about that, and it's good that he brought up the whole band members being friends thing because. I know I'm a bit biased because they just joined, but I feel like our new lineup at the moment, the one that recorded the Running Wild cover, that's definitely the most like I feel tighter with these guys like in such a short amount of time more than anybody else that we've ever had, I think.
Good. That's a good sign, man.
Yeah, because we're all on such a we all want the same thing and we all like the same thing. Because one of the problems with some of our old band members is that we didn't really like we liked playing with each other, but we didn't have the same goals, you know? So yeah. Oh, Jack, do you want a cup of coffee?
I sure do. I was waiting to answer that comment. Gilbert is another dear friend who lives in Brazil. He and his family so Kaio, who is the main songwriter and brain behind this band Firewing that I mixed for recently, and a Berkeley friend, amazing guitar player, and just a really good guy all around. Gilbert is his dad, and we hung out. Chris and I hung out with him in Sao Paulo, not last year, but the previous New Year. So yes, I absolutely want a cup of coffee, and I want to come visit you again soon.
One last thing I was going to say was, because I've seen you sipping on it the whole video, what are you drinking?
Yeah, so this is funny. So I had Evan Williams Bottled in Bond bourbon in here, but normally I would just drink it straight. But a friend of mine, so actually Adrian, had mentioned root beer to me for some reason, and I just got this like craving for root beer. So I'm having bourbon and root beer. Like a degenerate. Normally I would just buy a nice bottle and sip it neat, but
oh no, dude, trust me, man, I know what you mean. The my kind of go-to drink for that is similar. It's it was one of our former members told me this, and it was a similar situation. Like, I wonder what that's like. Was Kraken and Dr. Pepper.
There you go, man.
Dude,
Kraken mixes well with anything.
Yeah, with literally anything. Yeah, and it's like, and I'm like, this is surprisingly really good, and it's dangerous because I can't taste any of the booze.
Yeah, you have no idea how much you're about to consume until it's in you, and you're like, "Ugh."
Oh no, I will say, I think one of the last shows we did before. That's how I felt. Okay,
so as soon as we finish the stream, I'm changing Adrian's nickname in my chat with her to Dr. Crackhead.
Honestly, that's how I felt when I was drinking that, because before I sign off, I'll just tell a really quick story. So one of the last shows we played, Panos mentioned it. Remember the last time you had that?
I see you're a man of culture as well.
Oh, yeah. So one of the last shows we played before the pandemic was we played in St. John's, Newfoundland, actually, which is a really strange place to play, but it was cool. We felt like rock stars. They flew us in, paid flights and all that. It was like this it was like this mini festival, and it was in like a kind of a decently big indoor venue. It was like 400 or 500 people, and we were opening for Skullfist there, which are an amazing Canadian band.
Nice.
And I didn't realize how hard people down there party, because we were second out of 5 bands, and we were on at 11. And afterwards, the promoter's like, "Oh, after party at my place." And by this time, it's like 4 a.m. And I bought earlier that day a bottle of Kraken and some Dr. Pepper. And needless to say, that was probably the most, like, I just remember waking up the next morning on the couch of the promoter's house and just seeing the devastation. Like, it was literally drinks and stuff was like, and chips were like all over the ground. There was a couple of people passed out on the ground. There was that one guy, and there was sun beating through the window at this point. And there was that one guy who's still going. He's like, "Hey guys, what the fuck? Why are you guys all passed out, man?" It was so yeah. So last time I had Dr. Crackhead, it was very interesting.
That's awesome, dude. So I got to give a shout out to everybody in the Massachusetts local metal scene, because nobody parties harder than the Massachusetts local metal scene. You guys need to come down from Ottawa, and you need to play a show in Boston or the surrounding, and Western Mass as well. And there's a band called Golden Hall that would be really good to play with you guys. Homies in Ice Giant. There are a ton of fucking bands from Massachusetts you guys need to play with, and all of them will like just party you into the fucking ground.
Damn. I trust me, man. I would really love to. Like, the only band I can think of from that area, aside from you guys, and even then, you guys aren't all from that area, is I don't think they're from Massachusetts, but Mind Maze. Are there people out there?
I think they're from Pennsylvania, I might be wrong. We've played a couple shows with them, and I've spent more time with them in Atlanta at Frog Power than anywhere else.
Frog Power.
Yeah, but those guys are super cool as well. But yeah, the Massachusetts scene, you guys got to get down there.
Oh yeah. Oh, Adrian just put Golden Hole. It'd be awesome. I'll look them up then for sure. I'll look them up.
They're awesome. Their singer's fucking great too.
Awesome.
And they're all great. They're wonderful guys.
Sweet. So man, so I think I'm gonna call it right now because we have gone over the time. But I just thought of a bunch of things, so I guess maybe we might have to do a follow up at some point.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can go as long as you want me to go. I'm just sitting here by myself, so. If you want to keep going, we can keep going. If you want to book another one, we'll book another one. Yeah. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I think we'll I actually have some stuff I have to do, so I'll call it for now. But this was probably one of the most fun ones I think I've done so far, man. This has been great.
Awesome, man. I'm really glad. Yeah, it was fun. The time flew by.
I know, man. It's like, and then when you just mentioned Prog Power, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah, that's like, we could do a whole hour on Prog Power.
Yeah, just Prog Power, yeah, for sure. So anyway, so I guess what I'll do is I'll do my little sign off. So follow Jack, follow Seven Spires, follow us at Lycanthro Metal on Instagram. Thank you for everybody for interacting in the chat, and this has definitely been one of the most fun ones I've done so far. So, anyways, I'm going to be announcing next week's guests tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And Jack, thanks for being on again as usual, man.
You're welcome, dude. Next time I'll do the whole one in a filter.
I might have to too then.
Cool. We'll do a whole silly one next time.
For sure, man. All right. See you, bud. It was great.
Right. Take care, man. Have a good night.
Take care, dude.
Bye-bye.